Hey, Tburrier here. So the thing to consider for this particular lesson is, are you doing the things in your life that you really want to do, right? Are you doing the things you really want to do? Are you going after the things that are in your heart to go after? Um, or are you in the process of it, but you're struggling to get yourself to do what you need to do, right? So that's the underlying concept here. Because if you're not, right, if you're not, then I can promise you the issue is fear, right? Fear is the thing that is holding you back, and I'm probably not telling you something you don't already know. So this is going to help you a lot because everybody deals with fear, right? Again, we live in a negative world. We have people constantly pointing out the dangers of doing things and what will happen if you rock the boat, right? It's all around you, right? If you're a dreamer, you'll end up on Skid Row because you'll lose everything, and it's just baloney. It's all baloney, but it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't make it any less impactful. You still feel the fear, and so I'm going to try to help you flip that fear. First, let's identify what it is, right? So there are four primary ones that I'll address briefly, and the one I'm going to spend the most time on is the fourth one. I go much deeper into all of these in my free audio, which you can get the download at Tburrier.com. That is Overcoming the Four Barriers of Success. That thing will really, really help you. Plus, you can listen to it over and over, and it's free. So anyway, the first fear is fear of rejection, right? I mean, fear of rejection, that's pretty simple, right? You're afraid that someone's going to tell you no, or that, and that doesn't have to mean you're in sales. It could be in anything, right? But life tells you no already, right? So it's not something that you haven't survived, right? You've survived it already, but I get it if you're sensitive. My personality profile says the number one thing I fear is rejection. That's what and I get it. I've felt it. I've experienced it. I've worked through it, but I know what it means. And so fear of rejection is one. Fear of criticism is the second, which, if this is comforting for you at all, it's impossible to do anything of substance without someone criticizing, right? Just think about that. I mean, one of my favorite sayings is, dogs don't bark at parked cars. Nobody's going to talk to you about what you're doing unless you're doing something. Nobody's going to give you grief unless you're doing something. So criticism's a rite of passage and actually an indicator that you're doing something. So expect it, right? I mean, you might not like it, but you can expect it. But the reality is, if somebody is not in your corner, they're criticizing you, they don't have your best interest in heart. So why do they deserve your attention? Why do they deserve you to even listen to a word they have to say? If someone is a criticizer, just cut them out. Just cut them out of your life. You don't have time for this. You don't have, they're not just impacting you, but you not doing the things on your heart to do is affecting your quality of life, which is affecting the people you love, the people you're around, right? Because that affects the way you feel and your mental outlook and the way you participate in life. So don't think it's just you in isolation. It's everybody that touches you, who cares about you, gets affected. And so someone criticizing you, they haven't even earned the right for you to listen to it. That's just the bottom line. They have not earned the right. There might be a certain voice who would criticize you from a constructive perspective because they love you and they have some experience and knowledge, right? So that would be beneficial for you, but that's not the kind of criticism I'm talking about. The third one is other people's opinion. We're in such a statusy and image-conscious planet. You know what? People are so caught up in making sure they look good for others so that others will think highly of them. What they're not thinking about is, nobody's thinking about you or me. They're thinking about themselves, right? They're thinking about what they want and what they need. If they're thinking about us, they're thinking about how we can help them get what they want. That's pretty much it. Other than that, ain't thinking about us, right? Certainly there's a small percentage that's different than that, but I'm just giving you general stuff so that you can navigate. And then the fourth one is really the monster, right? That's fear of failure. I mean, it's not a trite question to ask. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? I bet you your life would look different. You would be doing something different. You might be doing a different kind of work. You might not be working for anyone. You might be investing your time in a passion you have, or you might be writing a book or playing music or whatever that is. And guess what? You know what it is. It's right there, and it's right there, and it ain't gone away. Just letting you know, it ain't gone away. So what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? That's the thing you got to start thinking about doing. And so here's what you have to recognize. When you make a decision to do something that you're not currently doing, you got two journeys about to occur. You got the journey that's going to occur of you taking the steps to accomplish, right? That's the work itself. Then you have the journey that's happening in you. That's the work on self. That's the beauty. Because when you face that trepidation, I'm not even going to call it fear. Let's just call it the unknown. And you're going to go forward and do something. That's opportunities to grow and learn. That's what makes you a better person. That's what makes you a stronger person. That's what builds your character. That's what opens new doors in life and raises your life to a new level. And so even if you don't become the superstar of the thing you're trying to do, chances are good that probably wasn't what mattered anyway. Right? That was a thing that was part of it, and you might have thought about it when you first got started, but as you dove into it, that third leg of the journey that I call the value leg, which I'm not going to talk about here, that starts to kick in, and then what really matters to you becomes what drives you, and the closer you get to that thing, the more fulfilled you feel. But that's a whole different conversation. Bottom line is the only way to guarantee failure, right, is to not do something or to quit, right? Think about it. That's the only way to guarantee it. And so if you don't do something because of fear of failure, you've just got the thing you feared. You made that come true. It might not, you didn't go through all the pain of having it actually fail, but what you're going to go through is worse. That's the problem, is the alternative is worse, right? There's an old saying that the pain of discipline weighs ounces and the pain of regret weighs tons. And that saying is so true. I mean, if you think back in your life right now, you could think of multiple things that you really wanted to do that you didn't. And you didn't because you were afraid. And that fear that you were unwilling at the time to go through, that fear doesn't exist anymore because you're not doing the thing. But what's there now is the ache, the regret, the thing that lasts forever, especially as you mature and you look back and you go, oh, I could have done that. I had several of those as a young person. I don't have any regrets in that regard because I've learned to understand it, that my mistakes and my errors have brought me to where I am, and I love where I am. I love my life, and that I get to teach and help people, and then I'm married to an amazing woman. I have a great family. We've had lots of hardship, but hey, that's life, right? That's part of it. So you don't want to experience regret. That is the big one. That's the monster of all things you don't want. That is something worth fearing all by itself. If I didn't even give you the rest of these things to flipping your fear, because that's the whole point. It's learning to fear the right thing. Don't fear the failure. Don't fear failure, because reality is if you go after something and you stay with it long enough, you'll win. I mean, you will. Now, will you win and become the greatest in the world at what you are? Probably not. Not because you can't, because it probably won't be that important to you. That's just the bottom line, right? The people who become the absolute best in the thing that they do, that's what they want. And they're willing to sacrifice everything else in life for the most part to get it, right? That's the nature of it. You're probably not in that spot. I'm certainly not in that place. I don't care about being the number one person in anything in the world. I just care about making the contribution that matters in the areas that I'm gifted to do while I'm living the best life possible, and participating in my relationships fully so that I have the true joy of life, right? I mean, that's, you got to get things in the right context. So you want to flip the fear and fear regret. You don't want that. That's like cancer. It's like emotional cancer. You want to fear being stuck in something or some situation you don't like. There's an ancient tribal curse that says, may you be stuck in the same place forever. Because imagine how torturous that would be. It wouldn't matter what it is, whatever it is. I mean, look at people who grow up with great riches. They grow up in it. What happens to those people? They self-destruct almost every time, right? It doesn't matter what it is. being stuck in any environment is not good, right? Not good. Something to fear. Missing opportunities, missing life experiences, missing out on learning, missing out on growing. I mean, you're missing out on life if you don't go after the things that matter to you. That's the bottom line. You're missing out on that feeling of being alive, that excitement of being alive. Yeah, the nerves, yeah, that little tingle, but you don't feel fear when you're in the midst, right? You feel fear prior to. Once you're in the midst, you're in the midst. You're doing the thing. You're trying the thing. You're working at the thing. You're not scared in the moment. You can't think about it that way. It's the prior thing, and it's not a real thing. It's not actually a real block. It's completely us, completely emotional. So that's why if it's completely us, we can change it. We can flip it. We can make an adjustment to help ourselves. So I hope that is beneficial for you, because this will help you use your own fear to your advantage. Go ahead and be afraid, but be afraid of not growing, not learning, being stuck, not having opportunities, missing experiences, and regret. Those things are way more worth fearing than anything you could try to do, except maybe jump out of an airplane without a parachute, which I don't encourage. So I hope this was of value for you. Feel free to share this with as many people as you'd like. And if you have a question for me, reach out. I'm happy to help. See you later.